Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Facebook Live. My name is Amy Goodson, registered dietitian and partner with Natural Delights Dates. And tonight, serving as Miss Claus dietitian to help you manage the holidays and give you holiday hacks for all of your dessert dishes. Now, this is week 6 Facebook Live of Natural Delights. So if you have missed any of them, or if this is your first one, you have 5 to watch so that you can fuel your holiday season. So we have been making dishes from sweet potato crumbles on top of rice pilafs, really using fresh Medjool dates to add natural sweetness to everything from salads to appetizer dishes. We've added it to snacks. Lots of really delicious options, whether you are going to parties and having gatherings with your friends, whether you're looking for snacks to take on your road trips like these healthy almond date cookies, or if you need a quick recipe for your family like a pizza. We have talked about literally everything, I think. So go back, scroll down on the Natural Delights Facebook page. That's at ND Medjool Dates. And be sure to check out some of our last Facebook Lives that we've been having over the weeks. Now, we want to be talking to you because we know that you have some good ideas about recipes, about swaps and hacks and tips. So tonight, our Natural Delights team is talking to you in the comments box. We're going to be having a giveaway later, which you do not want to miss because we are going to be giving away dates that you can use to make these recipes. And we're also going to be giving away my Shape It Up meal plan, which is a 4-week meal plan that gives you all your meals and snacks, recipes, different meal and grocery shopping tips, meal prep ideas, all the things. So stay tuned for when we do our drawing a little bit later. So we want you to follow us in social media today and every day because we're always talking about some of these delicious dishes and giving you tips and tricks along the way. So follow Natural Delights at ND Medjool Dates, both on Facebook and on Instagram. If you'd like to connect with me, I would love to connect with you. On Instagram, I'm at amyg.rd. And then on Facebook, I'm at Amy Goodson. So easy enough. So be sure to connect with us there so that we can give you a bunch of different ideas. Now, when we talk about sweetening up the holidays, so many people think about adding sugar, brown sugar, powdered sugar, regular sugar. And tonight, we're going to be talking about all things natural sweetness and how you can use Medjool dates to sweeten your holiday dishes and also add nutrients like antioxidants, fiber, potassium. As a dietitian, I am all about trying to add nutrients anytime I'm cooking or entertaining, and dates really make that easy to do. But first, so many people don't know how to use dates in recipes. I've made lots of jokes over the last few weeks. My dad calls me Shug, and he's always like, Shug, I never even thought of making anything with a date besides eating it or putting some goat cheese in it and wrapping it with bacon. So before you can cook with dates, you really need to know what to do with them. So my first Miss Claus hack for tonight is to bust out your chopsticks and get ready to pit your dates. So we all know that dates have a pit in them unless you find the pitted ones, which are available when you're out grocery shopping. But in order to get that little seed out of the date, I want you to use this in the round side of a chopstick and work your way in to get out that little bitty seed. Sometimes, as you will see, it's easier than not. Sometimes I get it out so well, and then the next one's an epic fail. But relatively speaking, this is a very easy way to pit your dates. And then you have a date that's intact, ready to go, and ready to be used. Now, dates are a little sticky. If you've ever cooked with them, you know that, or even just eaten them. And the stickiness is really goodness. But when it comes to slicing and dicing, sticky is no good. So a pro tip is really to pop your dates in the freezer for about 10 or 15 minutes to let them firm up. It's going to make them a lot easier to chop, to dice, whatever you are doing. So once you get those dates on the cutting board, you'll see my knife is sliding easily through them, and they come up with these little slices that you can use in any recipe, especially the ones that we've been making over the last few weeks. Okay, so getting to our holiday goodness. Tonight, we are going to start with a family favorite of my family, and that is pecan pie bars. So if you've ever made a pecan pie or eaten a pecan pie, you know that they are so sweet because there's a lot of sugar usually in them. It makes your lips go because they're super sweet. So tonight we're going to be using dates to really make the glue that holds the pecan pie bar goodness all together. So we are going to start by making a homemade crust with graham cracker crumbs. Now, I am a little bit lazy, so I bought the graham cracker crumbs already in crumb format. If you have graham crackers, you could surely food process these. We're adding a little melted butter. We're going to crack one egg. We're going to add a little bit of vanilla. And then there's a pinch of salt so small that you can't really see it. And you're going to use a hand mixer. You haven't used one of those in a while. I think we use them all the time at Christmas to mix this together. I have this on low, so you don't need to go crazy with it. The goal is really just to get the wet butter and the egg mixed together. And then we're going to be putting it in a pan. Now, what's interesting is this parchment paper actually needs to be sprayed with a non-stick spray. And you'll see that I'm using a spatula to get it in there because it's not a real wet mixture. Upon making round two, because I've already made the bars for you tonight, and I've made this crust a second time, I noticed that my hand just wasn't doing a good job of getting it. So I Googled it because that's what you should do. Using the end of like any size measuring cup and pushing it in makes it a lot more compact. And when you pop this in the oven to bake it, it's going to make it stick together a little bit better. If your family is not a lover of graham crackers, you could use like an almond flour, anything that you could get to bind together and to make that crust. And you're going to pop this in the oven for 10 minutes at 350. So you're just really letting it kind of firm up because that's going to be the base to your pecan pie bars. Now, to get going making your paste or your date paste that's going to hold the bars together, you want to make sure and soak those dates. So if you put dates in warm water for 5 to 10 minutes, it really softens up those sugars and allows you to be able to food process them a lot better. So that warmness really helps soften them. And then you can add them to your food processor. Now, to make this, we are using the dates and you'll see the date water. We're adding a little bit of that in there to make it easier to food process. I tell you, I had to add water a few times because you really want it to get a pretty good gooey consistency. So I want you to think of like the gooiness of the last pecan pie. Maybe you had it at Thanksgiving, but that inside has got that gooey, yummy goodness. It's just mine happens to have some fiber and antioxidants in it, which makes this a win. So this is our base for our pecan pie bars. We're going to be adding a splash of maple syrup, literally, and we're going to add about 1.5 cups of fresh pecans. So these pecans, they're just whole, they're not roasted, toasted, nothing. And we're just going to get this well stirred together. What you want to do is coat basically as well as you can the pecans so that they can kind of mold into your crust that you made. Now, for some reason, if your family doesn't like pecans, you could make cashew pie bars. You could make almond. So there's lots of things you could do. I'm a lover of pistachios. You can make pistachios. So this is obviously a little more traditional because it's pecan pie, right? But if your family doesn't like them, you could easily make something else. My family has already asked me to freeze these and bring them with me when I come for the holidays in a week or so. My dad was like, "Are you going to bring those?" I said, "Dad, all the stuff that I make every week, he keeps asking me to bring it. My freezer is so full of stuff." I'm like, I'm going to be, Santa Claus is coming to town is going to be a for sure situation when I come. And she's bringing a lot of treats when she comes. So you can make these for your family. You're going to get this well pushed in this because you're not going to cook this. It's just going to go into the fridge. So you end up with a fairly gooey consistency right on top. So we are going to sprinkle a few more just whole pecans to give it that kind of pecan pie look. And once you get that sprinkled, I kind of like squashed them in there a little bit, pressed them in so that they would mold into the topping. And then you're going to use some flaky sea salt, not a lot, but a little bit of salt with a little bit of sweet makes everything better at the holidays. So a little bit of white sea salt, kind of the flaky, bigger pieces right on top. You're going to pop this in the fridge for about an hour or two. Mine needed 2 hours because that mixture is pretty wet and it really needs to form. And then let me tell you, you are going to have these delicious pecan pie bites. They are so good. They're not super hard. They've got a lot of like softness to them. And I mean, I can smell the sweetness. Excuse me. You're going to have a little bit of crunchiness from the pecans, especially the fresh ones we put on top. One of the reasons I like using nuts in your baking dishes is because they have protein and they have some healthy fat. And that's going to help you get full a little bit faster. So between the fiber and the nutrients and the dates, and then the protein and the healthy fat, pecan pie bites for the win. Family's going to love them. This is a must-have for your Christmas dishes. And if you're taking things to your neighbors, this could be a great little easy bar to make and pass out little containers to all of your neighbors. All right, so that's recipe 1. Recipe 2 has to do with chocolate. Now, y'all, I have a little niece and a little nephew, Loretta and Levi. Loretta's 6. Look how cute they are. Levi's 3. Loretta's like my child because she's redheaded like I am. And I like to claim her. And let me tell y'all, they love dessert. They're like Lolly and Pop, who are my parents. Get it? Lolly, Pop. My parents are chocolate people. And my little nephew is really the one who has a sweet tooth. I'm starting to think all of his teeth are sweet because he loves dessert. And so a little quick story about Rice Krispie treats specifically, because that's what we're going to be making right around Halloween. He came over and he knew my mom had the little bite-sized ones. And he was like, Lolly, I want a Rice Krispie treat. And she was like, well, after breakfast, thinking that he would forget until the afternoon, he like literally finishes his eggs and was like, Rice Krispie treat. So I am going to take these healthy chocolate Rice Krispie treats home to Levi. I'm going home in a week. He's going to love these. So if you're a chocolate fan and you like the old school Rice Krispie treat, this is the recipe for you. Now, why it's the recipe for me, the dietitian, is because we're not using marshmallows. So marshmallows are an added sugar. In this situation, we are going to use those pureed dates to hold the Rice Krispie treats together. So you can think about dates as a really good swap for refined sugars, whether that's pouring sugar in. Marshmallows, last time I checked, don't have a lot of nutrition goodness to them. So when you use the dates, you're getting some of those nutrients like I've mentioned, making it a great consistency to hold them together. So to make our Rice Krispie treats, we are going to start by mixing the dry ingredients. So you're going to take the Rice Krispies, and I actually use brown rice Rice Krispies to make these, and cocoa powder. Now, it's almost like we're making literally, you know, like little chocolate Rice Krispies. I kind of decided I could have bought some of those at the store, but relatively speaking, we're using that unsweetened cocoa powder to make them ourselves. And you want to try to get the cocoa powder as well mixed as you can. And then we're going to be adding in our mixture. Now, I went a little bit out of order, so I'll take you back to that in just a second. But this is a mixture of a date as well as a nut butter mixture. And let me tell you, y'all, this is one you got to get your hands dirty for, because it just doesn't mold together until you use your hands. So I use my hands to really get in there, combine all the Rice Krispies, the cocoa powder. And then once you have that really well mixed together, you are going to add some dark chocolate. Now, this is dark chocolate. In case y'all didn't know, you might have heard that dark chocolate is good for you. And let me tell you, it does. It has polyphenols in it. It's actually, because it comes from cocoa beans, dark chocolate is really one of, I would say, the healthier sweets that you could be eating when it comes to the holidays. So combining the dates with the dark chocolate, I mean, Miss Claus is telling you that that is a win. So your goal is to get that mixed in. You're going to have a pretty good, just like Rice Krispie kind of consistency. You're going to be pressing it into this pan. So once you have your Rice Krispies all the way made, you are going to put them into a glass pan or a foil pan, whatever you want. You're not cooking this, so you do not have to grease it. There was really no need to grease it. We're going to actually pop this in the freezer so that they can start to form. And you just want to, I use a spatula all day in my kitchen today because it tended to be a better option than a spoon, because the spoon just wasn't getting the job done. So once you get that in there, you're going to press this really far down, because when you pop it in the freezer, You want it to form into your little squares. And because they're chocolate Rice Krispie treats and it's the holidays, we are going to drizzle a little bit more chocolate right on top. So I have this melted chocolate that I just melted in the microwave. They're little dark chocolate chunks. And so we're going to take it and then just drizzle right on top to add just a little more chocolate gooiness. This is really just so my nephew Levi will want to hang out with me and enjoy these. And then once you have your chocolate drizzle on top, pop this in the freezer for about 2-3 hours, and it really forms into these perfect little squares, and the chocolate hardens perfectly. So this is like an old school Rice Krispie treat, but with the goodness of dates and with the goodness of the dark chocolate right on top. Now I'm going to go back to the mixture because I totally went out of order. And so if we go back to making this wet mixture of what I did, I used the Medjool dates to make a paste. And so with that paste, I soaked them for about 10 minutes in water because that's really going to be what helps soften them, as I mentioned. And then I said we added a nut butter. So I added peanut butter. You could really add almond butter. You could add a seed butter like sunflower butter if you have nut allergies in your family. And then you are going to add a little bit of vanilla to help kind of give it that, richness of the flavor. And then you are going to blend it up. So I apologize that I missed that along the way. But, if you, like I said, you can use the nut butter really gives it that really good kind of nutty consistency blended with the dates. Absolute. The sweet, but then the dark chocolate isn't as sweet. So it really makes for like a crunchy, chewy dessert. So this is something that you want to add. And if you have children, nieces, or nephew, I really think that these are going to be the ultimate dessert for any age group, and they're super simple. So I would be making these this holiday season. I'm going to take them home to my niece and nephew because that's going to make me the favorite aunt. And I might just wear this outfit because I think that they would really enjoy the whole situation. All right. So now that we have our chocolate Rice Krispie treats made, we are going to be talking about our giveaway. So right now we're posting a picture on the screen, a question on the screen that says, what are you looking forward to most this holiday season? Now your answer cannot be making Miss Claus's dietitian's recipes tonight. It's got to be something else. But our Natural Delights team is talking to you in the comment box. So we want you to give us your best answer. And then, of course, like I mentioned earlier, we also want your tips, your tricks, and your swaps into recipes because you've probably all made some version of a good pecan pie bar or Rice Krispie treat that you would like to share. So after our third recipe, we will be back to announce the winner. So don't go away. I'm moving to recipe number 3. Now, I like pie, fine. Chocolate is good. But let me tell you, if there's a crumble involved, I am in 100%. And tonight we're going to be making an apple crisp crumble with a date caramel sauce on top. Now, there's a fun story behind this because this recipe was actually created for Natural Delights by my friend Andrea. And I definitely want you to follow her because she makes a lot of recipes for Natural Delights. Her social handle is at Lubies and Lulu. She is your go-to girl for all types of things, shopping, gifts. She's got recipes. I just saw her making empanadas with dates, I think yesterday. So that is a holiday one to check out as well. But what's really cool is that both of us got to go to the Natural Delights Medjool date harvest back in September. So y'all, we got to actually harvest dates and we got harnessed to these, I don't even know what you call those apparatuses that took us up into the trees. The dates are wrapped in these bags so that they don't lose them. And you basically have to take the dates out and shake them. And then from there, you go to sort and grade them. So we got the whole entire process from going up high in the air, literally kind of like being in the circus, right? You're harnessed to your little, I wish I could remember the name of the apparatus that went up into the air. We went up with a palmero. Francisco was our guy teaching us how to harvest the dates. And then we got to go look at the sorting and all the things. And y'all, so I want you to think back to I Love Lucy, if you've watched I Love Lucy, and the Chocolate Factory episode where the chocolate is coming through so quickly on the little slider. That's basically what Andrea and I look like, getting the dates and sorting them, because you have to look for different grades of the dates so they know where they go. So we looked a little bit silly, but it was such a fun experience. And, I'm all about learning where your food comes from, and to really get to see those Medjool dates coming from the trees, which are still hand harvested from the palm date trees, making it into the facilities where they're sorting and grading them. And then, of course, getting them into your grocery store. I mean, it's just it's a very cool story. And I think it's really cool that while dates have been around for 6,000 years, they are still hand harvesting them, and I got to be a part of it. So just a little history lesson on the dates and the fun that we had. All right, so while we were on our little bus rides, Andrea was telling about this recipe she was making, and she was creating. She's like, it's not going to post for a few more weeks or whatnot. She was like, I'm making a date caramel sauce on an apple crisp. And I was like, yes, please, to all of the things. Yo, look at this. OMG. I mean, I am talking the sweet, the crumbly, all the savory seasonings like the cinnamon that you think of in the holidays. All right, so this recipe is made in 3 different stages. Number 1, we're going to make this date caramel sauce. And so to make this, you are, of course, are going to start by soaking your dates. As I mentioned, that is the key to making dessert with dates. We are going to be adding light coconut milk. You could really add any nut milk that you like and or prefer. We are going to add some vanilla, and then we're going to add a little bit of salt. Your goal with this date caramel drizzle, basically sauce, is to get it really, really smooth. So you want to hit this on puree. I mean, you want your food processor to go in serious, serious speed. And then you're going to push down the sides and do it again. Push down the sides, do it again, because you want to end up with this goodness right here, which is this really, think of like the coconut smell, the sweet caramelness of the dates. Y'all, this is a win. So once you have this drizzle made, you're going to set it to the side so that you can get your apples ready. So you're going to chop your apples. You could use any one. Pro tip, MB apples don't brown as quickly. They actually stay white longer. So I use MB apples because they're a great option to add fiber to this dish along with the dates. So to make the apples, you're going to chop them up, put them in a 9x13. I did grease this pan just so the topping didn't stick. We are adding a cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice mixture. This just smells like the holidays to me. I'm all about the apple, cinnamon, anything. So once you get your apples well coated, you're going to set them to the side. And now it's time to make my favorite part, the crumble. And to make this crumble, you have a handful of ingredients. We're using the food processor again. We're using almond flour, which makes this gluten-free. It also makes it Whole30 and paleo friendly. We are using pecans. You could use any nut that your heart desired. Really, like pecans work great. Walnuts would work great. We've added some coconut oil. You could also use ghee. We are adding that caramel date sauce right there. So that's going to be a mixture inside of the crumble, as well as some coconut flakes. Those are unsweetened, some vanilla, and then, of course, all of our favorite holiday spices. So again, that's nutmeg, that's cinnamon, and that's allspice, all combined in there. And you are going to get it to a crumble. You want to pulse it to get it to a crumble consistency. So once you get it in that food processor, I mean, crumble goodness. Now, this isn't cooked yet. So once you get that all ready, and I would love to tell you could do this with a spoon, that if you're going to make a crumble, your hands are really the best option. So you're going to crumble this all over this apple dish. Now, this crumble made a little more than what I thought, which in my world is great because there's a lot of apples. We chopped up about 5 apples. They were a fairly, I would say, good size of an apple, but we chopped up 5. We cored them, chopped them. If you're going to let them sit for a while, you might want to sprinkle a little bit of lemon juice, but you just want to get this well coated. Like I said, I used all the crumble because I think that that's necessary. And then what you're going to do from here is you are going to cover this in foil fairly loosely. You don't want to get it so tight on there. And you're going to pop this in the oven at 350 for 50 50 minutes. Okay. Hold please while I make my Mrs. Claus swap right here. Y'all, when this comes out, let me talk to you about crumble goodness. The smell of this, it smells like a Christmas bakery factory. This crumble topping browns. After it's been there for 50 minutes, you actually take the foil off and let it cook for another 10. It really browns that topping. The smell, the crunchiness, the apples kind of like, they soften a little bit. You have that sweetness of dates mixed in, but the best thing to do is to add a little more of our date caramel drizzle. So I am just going to drizzle it kind of right on top, like in a diagonal motion. You'll see in that shot that we showed you, you can serve this with your favorite ice cream. So that could be, I mean, I would be screaming vanilla bean all day long on this, but you could use a cinnamon ice cream, whatever you want. And then I would probably drizzle a little bit of the date caramel sauce right on top just to get that sweet caramely goodness with the apple. So that is definitely my pick. So again, check out Andrea at Luby's and Lulu. This is a recipe that's also on the Natural Delights Natural Delights website. So all of our recipes tonight and the ones that we've been talking about all the nights are on Natural Delights website. That's naturaldelights.com. You can search for any of these and download the recipe so you can get cooking. All right, so we said we're going to have a winner. So right now, the Natural Delights team is announcing the winners. I believe there's going to be more than one in the comment box. If you are the winner, what we need you to do is to send the Natural Delights team a direct message on the Facebook page. So that's at ND Medjool Dates. Send us a direct message saying that you won tonight, and we will let you know what we need from you so that we can get you dates as well as the Shape It Up meal plan so that you are ready for, the holidays, but really 2022. Now, I've got to give y'all a little treat and a little surprise for what's out on the market right now, besides just the delicious Natural Delights dates. They have two products, one that launched in October and one that is seasonal, only out for the holidays, and that is chocolate covered dates. Need I say more? These are only out right now through the holidays, I believe through February. So you have got to stock up on those. And the mini Medjools, I talked about those in past weeks. Basically, mini Medjools is they take the fresh Medjool dates, turn them into paste, like I showed you how to do a bunch of different ways tonight. And they roll them and mix them with everything you can imagine, from pistachios to coconut. One of my favorites is the cacao pecan. So they mix it with cacao powder, the dates, and then they roll it in pecan. 4 of them is a serving. They are great to throw in a little baggie, pop in your purse, pop in your computer bag, pop in your to-go bag as you're traveling over the holidays. So check out the mini Medjools, lots of flavors. Definitely check out the chocolate covered dates. I just got a box and I'm telling you, on my list to eat before I go see my family. So we want to make sure you're getting those. So talk to us and social media. We're always talking about recipes. We're so glad that you joined us tonight for our last Facebook Live. Is a part of our series called Natural Sweetness Endless Delights with Medjool Dates. If you missed them, please go back and check out the other 5. If you have questions, feel free to drop those in the comment box and I'll get back to you. You can also visit my website at amygoodsonrd.com. Follow us on social media, and most of all, please have a very Merry Christmas and happy holiday season. Enjoy your time with your family and be sure to make some holiday goodness with Natural Delights. Thanks so much. Have a great night.